All right, happy Kwanzaa, Gerards.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
It's actually the 5th day of Kwanzaa.
Happy.
Is it?
Happy
it
Diwali,
is.
everyone.
It's
Happy Diwali, guys.
Is it Diwali right now?
Well,
No, it hasn't been Diwali for months.
Oh shit! Well, I have no idea. Anyways, here at the Gerard Show, we really are in the spirit of Christmas right here, and so therefore we're gonna watch and have been watching all 3 of the original canon Santa Claus films.
Not that non-canon
Not like
garbage.
the Santa Paws or any of that shit. No.
Although I'm not opposed to Santa Paws.
Or the Santa Claus.
There's an equal number of Santa Pauses.
Yeah, but like you checked out after
Wait,
you know.
separate but equal?
I have to cut that out. I have to cut that out. Anyways, so we're watching all the Santa Claus movies one at a time, coming here and regurgitating our thoughts as a podcast. We thought that might be a funny and clever way to spend the holidays.
We're so in season that 2 of us are drinking hot cocoa right now.
Yeah, I'm drinking water.
There's
I'm drinking
schnapps in
water.
mine.
My doctor actually told me the last time I had a physical, the one where I got half chub, which is a different story, that I should drink a little bit less. So I'm doing that. Okay, gentlemen. So we all sat down and watched the Santa Claus. The first one.
Well, yeah. Well, let's preface this. You guys can't see, but Gerard 1 has.
We have lots of notes.
He's got
2 of us have lots.
You have 1 page of notes, 1 full page.
I have.
You have 2 pages.
Front and back page.
Oh, okay.
And
Gerard
I
2's
can't
got-
help but notice. Written all over this, I wrote "fuck Neil"
I
Yeah.
wrote
on the
Santa.
sides.
I got about 6 things on my
We're
page.
getting ahead of ourselves. So I just want to say, the Santa Claus came out in 1994 to rave reviews.
Yep.
It made
It was
almost $200 million in like a $30 million budget.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it was a big success. Stars Tim Allen, and
I forgot to mute my
I'll have to
phone.
cut that out.
Didn't mute your phone.
One of us, was a bad guest and didn't even mute his phone. It was me.
Yeah.
I don't even have my phone on me. It's to the ether right now.
All right. I have written down at the very top that I enjoyed the entire soundtrack of this movie.
Okay.
I didn't notice it.
It was very festive.
It was a Christmas movie.
I know, but like sometimes you get like kind of like meh Christmas movie soundtracks.
like pretty much everything that's on Freeform, which used to be
Yeah.
ABC Family, which used to be Fox Family.
Like I took notes that it started with a very classy piano rendition of "Oh Christmas Tree."
Okay.
That's true in the office
Yeah.
office space. Another thing I liked about it was right off the bat, and it's something I didn't appreciate as a child. Obviously, was all the kind of like racy adult humor.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
I mean,
the
Ray
second-
Romano's
Well,
father
you-
was in
you
it.
pick it
Peter,
up.
Peter Doyle.
And he's like, oh, hey, everyone, celebrate your families, but they're not here tonight, kind
Ray,
of thing.
Ray Romano's father.
Right, yeah, Peter Doyle.
Yeah.
That's the guy he was also in Taxi Driver. He's dead, R.I.P.
I made a note that just like my holiday parties, there was no families there.
Right, and so that's why the secretary was sitting on
That's
the
what
guy.
makes them good holiday parties.
Oh,
I enjoy my holiday parties. So.
we'll edit all that out.
Yeah, so these are all, pre-Santa scenes. We're nowhere near Santa yet.
Yeah, literally the opening scene of the movie.
Yeah.
It's actually really good because one of the first things that I asked about the movie, and I'll say that I probably remembered the most out of this film,
yeah, I did not remember too much of it.
given
yeah,
my
barely,
seniority
nothing.
in the group, is that it answers the question immediately what he does for a living. However, one of the major gripes I had was that they only say his name once. And Gerard, how
Oh.
long did it take?
Yeah.
Yeah, I found out his name at minute 2050.
Well, the clever thing about the name is that his name is Scott Calvin with a C, so like SC, Santa Claus.
Right.
I thought his name was Kevin at first.
Yeah.
So,
They said his name
Once.
maybe once during the beginning.
to introduce him for like that speech.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you immediately forgot about
I
Oh, absolutely.
paid attention to it, forgot, and we decided his name was Kevin for 20
it.
minutes.
Well, then we had another name that we found out 40 minutes into the movie.
Laura.
Yeah.
His wife.
Well,
His
I
wife's
got that one written down
Yeah,
too.
his wife.
Yeah, if I'm cutting ahead.
That was actually at an hour and 5 minutes. We
So-
found out the ex-wife's name.
I'm glad we're going on the ex-wife because the divorce scenes in the beginning of that movie are so good
They're
and
awful.
so real.
It's so terrible.
I think they actually are going through a divorce while they were filming the Santa Claus.
It's
like,
possible.
of the entire performance, Tim Allen, did he get divorced in life? Because that was pretty much...
Oh, he absolutely got
That was
divorced.
spot
that
on.
was spot on.
I think it's given
All
that.
the snarky, kind
the
of...
backhanded, and the
Yeah.
little kid's right in the middle of it.
Like,
Yeah, the kids are seeing all of this shit in the
it's
beginning.
not so inappropriate that he shouldn't... That you would never say this around a kid, but you shouldn't be saying this around
Oh,
a
absolutely. Not with an earshot of the kids. He was like 7. They didn't really establish Charlie's age, by the way, too. Charlie being the son.
I'm
He's
choosing
gotta
to
be
believe...
first grade.
That's what I think.
I'm
'cause,
choosing to believe his son was 8.
Okay, so that's like 3rd grade.
I think he's younger than that. At first grade,
What,
7.
What about 2nd grade? He's like 7 years
6,
old.
7.
We're splitting hairs between 6 to 8. We're splitting hairs.
Because when
They
he
have,
was miserable, he made a lot of very astute adult comments,
Well,
then when he was happy,
because it was written by an adult.
right? But then when he was a happy child, he was actually very kid-like.
Yeah.
So that was a good transformation on Charlie's part. Who I used
devolving
to
back into a child.
yeah, because being a child which means you're happy.
Yeah,
I forgot who played the child in the movie,
it's
but
not important.
he doesn't do anything anymore, so it's
He'll
not.
probably
it's not really
be
important.
back in the next one.
He will actually. It's the
Yeah.
same actor because the second one I think is.
He was like, I haven't done anything. Please hire me.
I think it's like 6 years after, like 10 years after. It's a significant amount of time after. They can just get everybody else and they look old, except Neil looks about the same.
Santa Claus 2 was 2002.
Okay, so
they got
8 years.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
I have other things written here. He was driving down the road. The radio did mention a 3-car pileup. There was no traffic.
There's no traffic at all.
They did one of those scenes where you see him driving in his. I have a note
was a
here.
Ford.
The '90s car styles were awful.
It was 94. What do you
94,
want?
Right. So he's driving in a shitty
There's
Ford.
so much traffic.
And he's like talking about the road, and then it like cuts to like an overseen shot of him driving, and just you see nothing in front of him.
Yeah,
Like,
so
it's snow on the ground.
He's cruising at like 80 miles an hour.
Yeah, he's just late 'cause he had a good time at the Christmas party. He's late to meet his son at his townhouse because his wife in the divorce with her new husband Neil, who's also referred to as Dr. Miller, he's a psychologist in the movie, takes the house from Calvin, or Scott rather.
We don't know that.
I'm almost certain going through divorces.
That's your
this,
headcanon.
This is what happens.
Headcanon, they took the house.
They took the house. Listen, this is the mid '90s. The woman won everything in court.
But, like, I don't-
everything, Drew.
I don't think that. Listen, I don't know exactly what Scott does at work that he can afford 2 houses.
He was like a toy
He
executive.
can't afford 2 houses. They took the first
No, he's
house.
renting the townhouse.
Yeah, he's renting that townhouse.
Was that?
In our headcanon, that is all true.
Yeah,
that
that's
established?
absolutely true.
All that is true.
That's absolutely true.
All right.
Because
They
he already went through a divorce and got burned. He's not gonna fucking tie himself down with
Listen.
another mortgage. He's crushing puss.
A good movie doesn't speak like an encyclopedia.
Right.
They don't.
This is a Disney children's movie,
Yeah.
guys.
They had the joke about a secretary sitting on the fake Santa's lap.
And that's the
They
joke
had
for
to
the
cut
parents.
a joke out.
and
It
the
was
parents
so
know what's
realistic.
up. Yeah. Oh, that's true. That's true. Thank you for reminding me. So in earlier versions of the Santa Claus, there's a scene where Laura's supposed to give Tim her like number to like contact her. She's dropping off Charlie for the holiday, whatever.
Yep.
To contact her in case anything goes wrong.
Got it.
And so Tim's character, or just Tim Allen. He's not
Yeah,
Scott.
he's really just Tim Allen.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
alright, sorry.
TNA over here, he gets the card and he reads 1-800-SPANK-ME. I know that number. And so the problem with that is that after it went through theaters and hit like the first VHS copies, kids were calling that number, which is an actual sex line, and were whacking up hundreds of dollars.
Right, because it was like $3 a minute.
Right, and so in later releases, like later DVD releases and the one that we saw on Netflix, they cut that out. So there were some pretty hefty adult jokes in the OG Santa Claus.
All right. Yeah.
And in an adult world, in 94, the woman took everything.
And in a good movie, they don't recite things like the prequels and just tell you shit.
Yeah.
It's true. It's in there. She took the fucking house. Just saying.
Right, like,
Because they clearly haven't been divorced for very long.
she's
'Cause-
married, though. She's wearing a ring.
True,
Yeah.
but Charlie's only, what, 5 or 6?
So we said 7, but yeah.
7, whatever.
Yeah.
So they couldn't have been divorced more than 7 years ago.
So divorce in Illinois doesn't take that long. Divorce in New Jersey takes a long time.
But that means she's gotten remarried, all that shit.
Yeah.
They didn't do a house buying process. She was already in a house.
Yeah, because she took Scott's house. And Scott's like, I'm not getting attached again. I'm going to fucking rent a
Okay,
townhouse.
we're gonna.
We're really
gonna
hopping on
move
the
past.
divorce thing here, and I blame myself. for
Super
that.
realistic divorce.
Yeah, good job on you guys,
They-
Disney crew, for good realistic divorce.
Whoever wrote the script, top notch.
He can't cook for his kid the one night that
Oh.
the kid's gonna fucking stay there.
That was actually a pretty funny scene, the turkey blowing
That
up.
was not a funny scene.
I like that.
That was so cliche.
I like the
can't cook-
distraction
It's
of
not
that.
hard to cook a turkey.
Okay.
It's really hard to burn a turkey to the point where fire is bellowing out of your oven.
At least in like Mrs. Doubtfire,
Oh,
the classier divorce movie.
The one where he dresses up and stalks his children and ex-wife?
classier.
That's the classier one?
divorce
You know what?
movie.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
At least in that movie, he's trying to do like French cooking, so when it lights on fire, I'm like, yeah, I can believe
Yeah, so
that.
it's
There's
hard.
a lot of butter and cream and
But like
oil.
Like what kind of bachelor, doesn't have, do we have like a box of mac and cheese somewhere in our closet? Like
I
you can't
don't
make
get-
mac
he
and
was trying to
cheese,
give his son
a soup.
Yeah.
a good.
A good Christmas
Christmas
dinner.
dinner.
Yeah, and let's go to Denny's.
Well,
Yeah,
'cause he
that's
fucked
better
up.
than mac and cheese.
All right, so again, going back.
But yeah,
I'm going to...
in movies, think when you're cooking, if you go slightly awry, At any time, the entire kitchen will light on fire.
But I liked that. I thought it was funny.
No.
I thought it was funny. I thought it worked really well with the whole home improvement thing. By the way, the director of this film directed Home Improvement, and that's where the TA connection is.
Yeah. That's why the Hue count got to 4.
I'm going to talk about divorce
ended at 4.
one more time.
Really?
Because at Denny's, they do a really good job showing all the divorcee dads with their children, and they fucked up Christmas dinner, and they're all at the
So I
Denny's.
thought that part was funny.
That was really good.
I thought the actual scene where the kitchen was on fire was kind of
I'm the only one that likes destruction then.
But I thought the Denny's scene was funny.
It was, and that's where we spot our first elf in the background. Remember? Yeah.
They're setting him up to be
So
Santa.
if you're watching at home,
Yeah,
which I know you are, there are several elves, things like 6 or 7. They're hidden throughout the whole movie, and you can spot them if you're really good.
Right, so does that mean that they targeted Tim Allen?
Yeah,
Yes.
so let's go into this. Let's go into this.
Because that's early on.
So
We didn't think about that.
he cooks
did
for his
not.
son. He puts his son to bed. Reads him there's a clamor.
Half-heartedly.
The night before
before
Christmas.
He reads them the night
Which
before.
I don't believe is a long book. Or,
It's no, it's like a short
reads him the
poem.
night before Christmas, and then there's a clamor on his roof. He goes outside. Santa's on the roof. He yells, "Hey you!" Santa falls off,
Whoa.
dies
So we established,
immediately.
we established that this is a new Santa. It must be.
Yeah,
Yeah,
This
that's
He's inexperienced.
What, yes.
He doesn't know how to walk on roofs.
yeah.
He doesn't know how to do anything.
This was probably Santa's first night on the job.
If it was the first Santa, then by definition, it's the first year, first Christmas.
So those who haven't seen this movie, the plot is that there's not one Santa.
I guess
we
we should have
we
opened
should've
with that.
started with that.
Every time Santa dies, a new Santa replaces him.
And this is the clause in the last line of a legal binding contract.
So that's the plot of the movie. So immediately, Santa's like, "Hey you!" falls off, dies. Clearly, Santa's not good at this. Clearly, a new Santa.
Yeah, all dead Santa.
New dead Santa.
I do like what you brought up, how maybe they were targeting him. 'Cause that's really good. They were scoping out Scott for a while.
There were
Yeah.
elves in the background before they even thought he was
Well,
going to be Santa.
Exactly.
Now, to go against my point, that's it. Like, he's divorced.
Yep.
He is not hold down because
Yep.
he rents as a house, I guess.
It's townhouse, yep.
You know, the kid will be fine. He's got the mom and stepdad.
I don't know if Charlie's going to be fine. Charlie's pretty messed up.
Well, we'll find out in the second one. But
I know Charlie's messed up. It's a big point of contention in the second one. Spoiler alert.
regardless.
well, yeah. But like, you know,
Hey.
let's take this random drifter guy to be Santa Claus, but he can't be a homeless dude.
And
Like,
also, he works at a toy company. It's a good experience.
yeah,
Okay.
but do they paint the corporation as evil?
No, they didn't.
No,
No,
really.
not as much as
Well,
the
they
police.
just painted
Later-
it as a little corrupt.
Yeah,
but whatever.
later on with the
Tank
Panther.
Santa.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're getting ahead of
But-
ourselves.
So the original theory is this is Santa on his first night and he's died.
Yeah.
If they were scoping him out, maybe that was just an elf.
Or maybe they always scope out Denny's for the same reason you said, no connection. They all have a divorce, but like clearly divorced with their children, they care enough about the holiday to bring them at least some sustenance instead of it's like, here's a 6-pack of beer.
So right, if I'm divorced and I'm making mac and cheese for my kid, I'm not going to be Santa Claus. 'Cause
No, you're not.
I didn't spend the money to take him to Denny's.
It's an American institution, as Tim Allen said.
I don't do when's last time we went to Denny's?
I've never been to a Denny's, actually. I've never been. Have you been to a Denny's, Gerard?
No.
So,
I may have went once.
if you want a good laugh, look up the whole class action lawsuits against Denny's over accusations of racism. You have yourselves a good time. Anyways, so what happens after Denny's?
So then Santa falls off, he dies.
Yeah.
He rummages Santa to try and find out who he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Finds the Santa Claus
He
card.
pickpockets Santa.
It says,
Also, they...
if something happens to me, put on my suit,
the reindeer will
get
know
in
what
my
to do.
sleigh.
Yeah.
The reindeer and stuff will know what to do.
Yeah.
Which begs a couple questions. One, what happens when Santa dies alone?
Yeah, so I thought about this, actually. Or, like, no one puts on the suit or something like that. Like, what happens?
I like to think the suit is alive.
Like, so we had this conversation.
The
It was
suit
like
must be alive.
the
Yeah.
Kamui, like in Kill la Kill, like
Yeah.
where it kind of forces itself upon
Yeah,
you.
because couple things. One, when
What,
you
hap- what happened to the body of Santa Claus?
Oh,
It's
it's
disappeared.
magic. Evaporates.
Well, did the clothes eat it?
again, this is why he's Bernard, actually. That was never a Santa. Their Santa died alone between Christmas. No one was around him. Bernard's
Bernard
like,
has to get on the
oh,
sleigh."
God, I gotta set someone up to be Santa now.
Bernard's the head elf of the North Pole, for you listening who don't know.
Who's had enough of all
Yeah.
your shit?
Yeah.
It's very clearly established that the elves are timeless and immortal or at least forever young.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And Bernard's 20,000 years old.
He's
He
put
doesn't
up with
give
this shit a
anymore.
1,000 times. Also, both Charlie and Scott, they accept Santa's death really quickly and
Yeah.
very gracefully.
Yeah.
They accept it way too easily.
Like that.
Yeah.
That's well. I can actually believe the 7-year-old seeing someone die and being like, "Oh, I don't really know what death is yet."
Well, so,
More than like Scott, who's like, "Was there someone on my roof and he's dead now?"
Like I should call the cops.
Yeah.
well, he does make a homeowners insurance comment later on. So like he's doing the math in his head. How
He's
much
like,
it's gonna
"I
cost? I've
fucking
already been
killed
divorced,
someone."
and that cost me 80% of everything I had. So yeah. And also, all the jokes about the reindeer when they introduce them are always about farting. That's it. They're never not about flatulence with the reindeer.
They went heavy on the animatronic reindeer.
Yeah.
For literally one of them.
Oh, Comet.
Just Comet.
That's the only one.
The
And
rest
I
of
don't
them
know.
were poorly CGI'd.
I don't know why he's the alpha male of the reindeer. And there's several scenes of poor CGI in this movie.
But
What is it? It's
I know
1994.
it was
like,
dated.
what do you want?
I know we're supposed to be moving on from Denny's,
Alright, we're back to Denny's.
but I have a quote here from Gerard
Okay, go ahead.
that just says,
me?
"Everyone likes Denny's," and then under I put that, "Really?"
Right. Pre-established you've never been to one. So
I've never been to Denny's.
Everyone loves Denny's except for you.
Everybody loves
Okay,
Denny's,
we
though.
can move. I just had to
sorry.
bring up that
Except for the whole lawsuit thing.
while we were watching, Gerard said that, and I was like, "Well, what?"
Everybody loves
Yes,
And
everybody loves
you like
Denny's.
exclaimed it too. You're like, oh, everyone loves Denny's.
Well, it's an American institution. Right. So they're in the sleigh, they're flying around, and they're just going around like carrying on the good work of Santa
I
Claus.
mean, he's
by the
getting
way.
pressured. The kid's telling him to
Yeah,
do all
the kid's
this.
like,
Right.
"Oh, you can't let the kids down."
Yeah, Charlie's really Actually, Charlie in the beginning might be more selfless than Scott is, because Scott's kind of snarky and selfish and kind of an ass, and Charlie's like, you have to.
That redemption story.
Yeah, well, I mean, I wrote down that really the whole moral of the movie is Scott kind of believing in himself, like at the end, 'cause he's probably kind of
Because he is Santa Claus.
Right, I see, Santa Claus. Also, he was cast really well in this film. By the way.
yeah.
What I took a lot of notes on were the fireplaces and the interior decoration of all the
Yeah,
houses
you
goes
old
into.
fucking man.
Yeah, because they were super nice fireplaces. Even places that don't have fireplaces, originally, by the magic of Christmas and Santa Claus, when it comes down, it turns into this lovely marble fireplace.
So
And I
again,
wish
this is
I
the
had
part
one.
that I didn't care about, but I have another quote from Gerard
Are you quoting me
was-
throughout the whole
that
movie?
just says, "That's not up to code."
You're right.
Oh, yes. Okay, so
There's no cap on top of the fucking.
how deep do you want to go into chimney code?
Oh man,
We don't. All right. So, anyways, you need a cap on your chimney in case embers go up the chute and they land on your roof. You don't want that to happen. Give yourselves a fire. So you have a cap on your chimney so it doesn't happen. None of the chimneys had caps. Big fire code.
But you
hazard.
know the Disney writers were saying like, what happens if we don't have a chimney? How does Santa deliver me presents?
And it
You
sounded
know?
just like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's that, and then they're like, it magically appears through the Christmas magic. The wall becomes the radiator turned into a giant fire. It was huge.
It was an awesome.
was-
you could walk into the fireplace.
It was 6 feet tall.
It had a little mini
I
like
don't know how
wood
tall,
furnace
I don't
in
know
the
how tall Tim
fireplace.
Allen is, but it was as tall as he
I
could
think
walk
he's like
in and out.
6 flat, 6'1".
Probably. I don't know. Let's
I
look
mean,
this
most
up.
male actors are of a good size, especially The Rock. So, anyways, they go around, they deliver a bunch of shit. He gets bitten by dogs, sets off a fire alarm. Allegedly, someone shoots at him. Oh, he's 5'10".
Yeah,
I
we
was
didn't
close.
see that. They didn't have the budget
he
for
just kind of
that.
said that. But then they get in the middle of the North Pole, and then some communist elf comes out and like hits a keypad.
I have lots of parts on this.
Okay, so I'll let you take that.
Yeah,
Because,
I have one like that. The entire North Pole section is a really good allegory for just communism.
And this is really important because it'll play heavily into the second movie
Yeah.
and what we're going to talk about there. So keep remembering this whole like authoritarian communist
All
kind of.
5 of you who are listening.
Yeah, including 3 of them are us.
I might skip this one. Guys.
You might skip
Oh
it.
man. Yeah, because like it's all about the workers. There's a new Santa. There's a new head honcho. It's apparent he doesn't have to do anything.
The color red is very prominent in every single shot.
There's a weird star on there that I guess they were going for like the Christmas star, but all I could see was the
see-
fucking Soviet star.
Yeah, I see Stalin.
And then Bernard the head elf comes up. He's explaining the whole Santa Claus shtick, like, oh, you
Like the
gotta
legal
look
code.
at the fine print. Gets a giant magnifying glass out, and just like he's so fucking done with this whole shit.
Yeah, because you have to put up with this. Because we've already established that the elves are essentially timeless, and we don't know how many Santa Clauses there've been, but there've been a lot,
Hundreds
Yeah,
of
there must have
Santas.
been.
right? Especially if they're ones that are so piss poor they die in their first year, right?
Yeah.
What's the death rate of first year Santa
Oh
Clauses?
shit!
Oh, it's gotta be super high.
But then it's gonna be
God.
like,
God knows that means he sent him out, and he was like, "Yeah, good luck, Santa."
So maybe that's why they scope them out.
We'll
They have
never
backup
see
Santa
that
Clauses.
one again.
But then
Right.
like that's the thing. Like once you make it through your first year, you've got like significant drop.
Right. So they have their elf actuary sit down and say, "What's the failure rate in every Santa Claus? We need to scope out and have some backups." Maybe that's why they're always scoping out.
Always scoping.
Yeah, they need it's like the farm system in baseball. It's the same thing.
You gotta have a guy ready to call up in case
they have elf
he
scouts.
ruptures his Achilles tendon.
Right, or he just dies. Yeah. Just fucking flat out dies.
R.I.P.
Yeah, so Bernard...
R.I.P. Jose Fernandez.
Oh, Jesus, I'm going to cut that out. I'm not going to cut that out. Yeah, so Bernard's super tired of this shit, except he really likes Charlie. He calls him Sport. It's a little weird, but that's all right. Also, I had a question do you think that Disney had like lawyers on retainer to actually write the legal prose for the Santa Claus? Because the way it's written does sound very legalese.
Yeah.
And the way that you probably couldn't get out of it.
The writers ran that by. They were like, the lawyers were probably
They're
in
like,
the office,
put some.
And they're just like, hey, read this line for a minute. And he's like, yeah, that sounds fine.
You need more, quid pro quo.
Yeah, that's the legal legal term.
You need more of that.
Quo is part of the legal term.
Squid kid, pro quo.
I'm a kid. So we also asked the question: has Bernard attempted suicide because he's so put up with the shit?
I didn't ask that.
Okay,
question.
well, I put this question out. Maybe not to the class. Maybe I kept this one just for this form. And also, if he's immortal, that means he's tried to kill himself and it didn't work.
I just have written down here kid actors in the North Pole.
Oh, that's it. What else do you have about kid actors?
Well, we were saying how much of a pain in the ass was it to shoot that scene because there was a shit ton of kids.
The whole thing was just kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, except for Judy. Judy's all right.
Oh man,
Judy's the one that made the hot cocoa
hot
film.
cocoa,
Yeah,
yeah.
she was seeing that person rapping. Remember?
Yeah. So the elves.
I'm not laughing at that joke.
The elves.
You didn't laugh at any of the
Bernard,
jokes.
It wasn't a great...
You didn't like the movie.
I didn't care.
They
for
explain you got to be Santa. You put it on. He's like, I'm not gonna be Santa. They're clearly rolling their eyes because this is not the first time they've seen someone
we were
be
saying,
like,
they don't have an orientation for some new Santas.
Right, there's
and
no
Bernard's
training.
put up with the shit. He's
No.
like, every year we get a new Santa. I scout out a new Santa after this one dies, and they say the same damn thing. I'm not gonna be Santa Claus. I don't want to deal with this shit.
But Santa's got a lot of fucking awesome perks.
He literally like
like being fat.
not having to pay for anything.
Yeah, that's the big one.
I don't even have to work.
Yeah, he has to work one night a year.
They clearly don't need him.
Yeah, not most of it. Like, it's a really bad night.
They tell him he'll be due back in Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
That means for 11 months he has no responsibilities.
Right.
No.
Except to get fat
That happens incidentally.
and grow his beard.
And that's the other thing too. All this happens magically.
Yeah.
After that in the movie, so that's why he's like, "I'm not gonna be Santa." But I was like, "You don't have a choice."
Actually, maybe checking the list is a lot of work, but that's all right.
I don't.
But then there's that one scene later where he just seems to magically know who's naughty and nice.
Yeah, I was checking out Veronica. That was another good joke.
Nice.
I like that
Yeah.
joke. Yeah, very nice. Turns around, it's like, nah, in your dreams, fat boy. You remember that scene?
Yeah, so he doesn't really have any work he has to do.
Do you remember that scene?
I do remember that scene. I also have written
'Cause it happened
Gerard
12 hours ago.
notices tiniest continuity errors.
Like his blinds. I don't know why this trick.
Well, the
because
blinds make sense because if the elves magically brought him back, they could have closed the blinds. Like, oh well, let's let the fat guy sleep in, you know.
Yeah, but look, he had different watches. Like, I noticed all this shit because I've seen the movie a lot, so I'm gonna pick up on all this other dumb shit in the background.
So
Yeah,
I don't ever pick up with stuff like that on movies.
I love little tiny
the
shit
movie
like that.
magic, you know.
Like the little thing about Charlie's skateboard. Like, remember that? All right, so
I picked up on that. What was that gift? Like,
so
we didn't look it up.
yeah,
it was like 3 skateboards like glued to each
all
other.
right. So take a hexagon, cut it in half, and those 3 planes that you have. Imagine those are all skateboards with 12
what
wheels.
the fuck that was.
And there was handles on each of like the termini of the fucking skateboard.
Guys, I think we're like 20 minutes into the movie.
It was 24 minutes into the show.
Oh,
Podcast.
so you could watch this movie and play
in real
and
time.
and you'll get just
That's
about
actually
as
by
fast.
that's actually by design.
Yes,
That's by design.
all on purpose.
Unintentionally.
Yeah. Well, it's good because I think I started taking less notes as it goes on. So
Yeah.
that's all right.
Then they go to the classroom. The kid starts talking to him. Oh, my dad's Santa.
Also-
while they're in the North Pole, they got the stupid snow globe thing.
Which they've
for
had
the
to have
kid.
broken. It's a really nice snow globe, and the idea is that like you can shake it and it's magic and stuff like that. But it
You'll
looks
see
really
Santa fly by.
yeah, it's really ornate, and so we believe that the snow globe they hadn't set had to have shattered like 8.
Well, I mean, it was like there's literally scenes where they're throwing it to each other.
Yeah, and like he's catching it with like wool mittens on, like.
Or like the kid caught it. God knows that kid didn't catch that the first go.
No, absolutely not. Actually, he probably got hit in the face or some shit like that. Dumb kid actor. Yeah, so it's a snow.
Oh, look, that's my next note. How many snow globes did they have on set?
That's actually one that I wrote down. How many snow globes did they break? It's probably a lot.
Yeah. So now Charlie's, Little kid's obsessed that his dad's Santa.
He really turns on to his father now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He really likes that shit. But who wouldn't?
In an unhealthy way.
I don't know. Well, actually, yes. Actually, 100% correct.
If your dad was literally Santa Claus,
Yeah.
you think that's unhealthy?
Also, well,
I just meant like his reaction. I don't think his reaction was you magic just got confirmed real.
See, like that's where they need to have like the orientation, like, oh yeah, you know,
Yeah, don't tell people.
they need to know.
exactly. Keep it like, oh, your kid, like, just fucking.
You don't have
keep
to
them
really
out.
care.
Yeah,
Those elves are everywhere.
Right.
Apparently,
They're like trying to get caught.
They need to normalize people, just like in the MIB.
they should.
Yeah.
They probably do.
You probably should.
Right?
Because
That-
fucking
Yeah, well, Tim Allen obviously doesn't give a shit because he's told everyone he was fucking Santa Claus.
and they flew by on that fucking.
The newspaper truck.
Was that what it was?
I think it was a
I
newspaper
thought it
truck.
was just a tractor trailer, but whatever.
It wasn't a
They
tractor
flew
trailer.
by tons of people saw this.
It was a box truck. It wasn't a truck
Whatever.
trailer.
Right.
Also, a really odd note, when they had to the scene in Charlie's school where it's like, take your, like, your dad tells you, like, what he does for a
That's
living
just
in
what they
front of
go
class.
to.
Yeah.
It was like, you're in the North Pole, you're Santa now. All right, you're at school. What does your dad do?
Pacing's hard, much like this podcast. So there was a person in the back who was an astronaut, and he was dressed up like the Mercury 7 astronauts, which doesn't make any sense because those suits were like super archaic and ancient. So I did notice. That's another little tidbit for
Right,
you
well,
guys.
NASA gave him the suit. You're
Little
like, I need a suit
tiny
to wear. And they're like, well, we don't have a
continuity
good
here.
one for you, so
Yeah.
here, take this old one.
Hey, I have a star here that says Tim Allen's best role.
I think it might be. Like, I really think it might be.
I mean, his voice acting work in
What was his other movies?
Toy Story.
You think
That
that
was
was
Buzz
his best
Lightyear?
role?
Yeah,
It was good, but like,
best role.
I don't think so.
he
didn't have to
looks
act. I didn't
he
have to
looks
look at him.
really good
That's less acting.
as the Santa
Well,
Claus.
hold on. You're gonna get in that argument with voice acting.
I know
Is,
we're going off the
we're
beaten
going
path. We're going off the beaten Santa Claus
I'm just
path.
saying.
I agree with you, Gerard. I think this is Tim Allen's best role, better than anything else.
So
he's
what
ever
was he
done.
in though, other than this and Toy Story?
I mean, Home Improvement.
Yeah.
clearly.
He was in jail for cocaine one time.
Who
Yeah.
wasn't?
I don't know what is. So
All right, so I'm just sticking with my guns then.
Yeah,
his
I think
best
it's his best role. He looks real good as Santa Claus. Just throwing that out there. You look up Tim Allen as Santa Claus.
role.
How have we not talked about Neil more?
Oh God. Hey, that's my next note.
All right, good. Let's talk about Neil some.
Up here is fuck Neil. So yeah, divorce, remarried. The person she's remarried is a psychologist, and if anyone is ever this aggressive about like making sure their kid knows Santa Claus is fake,
Yeah.
like fuck them as parents.
Yeah, fuck Charlie. I mean, well, fuck Charlie kind of. But so Neil is Charlie's stepfather,
Yeah.
who's living in Scott's house.
Who's like, my dad's Santa. He's like, you shouldn't say that.
Yeah, and there was a point where Neil tries to out-logic Charlie
Yep.
as to why Santa Claus doesn't exist. Like,
He
how
is
could he
beat
get...
instantly.
Yeah, Charlie just shuts him down instantly, and he's supposed to be a doctor. So Dr. Miller is a fucking idiot. But the movie wants you to not like Dr. Miller, because they say his name and put him in bad situations all the time in the movie.
True.
All the
You're
time.
nerds.
Yeah, and like even the
Your
principal
advanced degrees.
call him Dr. Miller and shit like that, but they call the regular dad Scott. The real dad.
Yeah. The real dad.
Yeah. So what movies has Tim Allen been in?
Roadhogs, The Shaggy Dog,
Yeah, see?
Jungle
Yeah.
2 Jungle.
Yeah.
Jungle was okay.
We're gonna stick best.
This
role.
is his best
Best
role.
role.
Hands down. Are you on the phone? Are you listening to a voice message right now?
So yeah, then Tim Allen gets
This is Drew's level of respect for podcasting.
he starts, having the Santa Claus magic start getting him fat,
Right.
growing a beard.
And like I said, that's the only thing for the Santa Claus. Oh, and his heart rhythm is
Yeah.
to that of Jingle Bells.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is not healthy.
No, not at all.
What
But,
the
like,
fuck was that?
Gaining 45 pounds in a week
Yo,
isn't healthy.
Obvious
either.
fat suit is obvious.
Arrhythmia?
Yeah, it's called arrhythmia. Thank you, DT.
Yeah.
Dysrhythmia.
Oh, I had written that the ex-wife reminded me of a shitty Sally Fields.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, and this is actually fun. So, is your benchmark for divorce movies just Mrs. Doubtfire? Because you
It
made
is
two.
the best divorce movie, I think.
Maybe The Parent Trap.
That's a great flick too.
See, that's a good flick.
I think Miss Doubtfire is better than The Parent Trap.
I agree with that, but I'm just saying there's room for argument. But
Yeah.
like here for Tim Allen's best role, there's no room for argument.
Yeah.
No, Jungle, go suck a dick.
Yeah, I guess whatever.
Oh, next note. Fuck Neil.
Again?
Yeah, it's all over the place.
See, yours was like
everywhere.
fuck his specific role. Mine was just fuck this movie, and I put talent marks.
Man, you tapped out of this movie real quick.
I
Are you
did.
gonna have the same level of enthusiasm for the rest of
you
them?
know it.
That's concerning.
Okay, so
That's
yes.
concerning.
He gets fat. There's scenes where he can't do his job.
Do you want to talk about the toy tank scene a little bit? And
Yeah, I have that scene was very painful.
It was really painful.
They're trying to show that the Santa Claus is fucking. It's an infection.
He defends.
That's what it
defends
is.
Christmas to the fucking lens of his life.
Becoming accidentally putting on the suit and becoming Santa literally changes not only your physical appearance,
Right.
but who you are.
He thinks differently now.
Yeah,
as the Santa Claus.
Like they put Santa in a tank, and we're gonna sell the new tank toy because we're gonna have this ad next Christmas.
It wasn't just a tank; it was a Panzer tank.
It was a Panzer tank, yeah. So the scene we're describing here is that Scott Calvin tries to lead somewhat of a normal life, and as we mentioned before, he's an executive at a toy company. So he's in this big roundtable meeting with a bunch of executives about, okay, what's our market campaign going to be for trying to sell this toy tank to children? And they have this idea of Santa Claus in the North Pole and a bunch of elves building a tank and having Santa drive down through the Arctic tundra in the tank. And of course, Scott, secretly being Santa Claus, has a lot of problems with these and goes to limits where he should normally be fired, but isn't fired for defending the image of Christmas.
I'm actually really bothered because, how long was this supposed to be? I was under the impression that this was
they time skip
a couple weeks later.
a lot.
Yeah,
but they're talking about another Santa.
Right, they jump around a lot because it looks
Right.
like it was April.
Yeah, they were wearing sweatshirts, so it was either in the fall or the spring,
And there was no snow
and there was no snow.
at that point.
But then, you got to be thinking. I mean, I guess the fall would make sense if you're trying to get your Christmas
campaign in order. I
yeah.
guess.
It's important to note it's supposed to be in the suburbs of Chicago. That's where the film's supposed to take
Oh,
place.
okay. So I guess it was supposed to be fall or something.
Yeah, something not winter and not summer.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So he goes ape shit, eats a bunch of fucking sweets.
Yeah, they do that joke.
He
where
orders all the
they
desserts on
order
the menu.
lunch.
Well, first he orders a Caesar salad, no Caesar dressing. Is
So
that
it's just-
even a Caesar salad
That's
anymore?
just
This is
lettuce.
lettuce.
That's
and
just lettuce.
cheese.
It's just romaine hearts, right?
And he's like, oh, you can't. Yeah, Santa's gonna show up in a Panzer. That scene was so painful. Every second that scene continued was another scene I wanted to fast forward the movie.
We need
So-
to we need to time these scenes and figure out what a percentage of the movie
It was probably 8 minutes.
I loved the movie actually,
Yeah, see, that's
but
a
I
good movie.
hated that scene.
At the end, we should give a number out of 10 as to what we thought the movie was.
Okay, we'll do
I
that.
wish,
We'll
you
do
told
that.
me that yesterday. I would have started doing the math.
Oh, you
crunching
got
the numbers.
however long the rest of this podcast
Maybe
goes.
about another 30 minutes.
Um,
So Tim's transformation and his, the degradation of his mental state gets worse and worse to the point where, he's at a soccer game with Charlie, and there's kids going up to him and asking, what they want for Christmas, and at some point he just accepts it.
yo, I've written down that kid was perfectly kidnappable.
Oh, yeah.
all of those kids.
Absolutely.
Like,
And-
all of those kids saw a fat, older man and were like, Santa, I'm gonna sit on his lap.
yeah.
Which also kind of was that shortly after
Yes.
the
I think-
scene at work, which would
Yes.
also mean
So-
it's fall. They're they're thinking about Christmas.
I think so. I think it was the scene at work, then the scene where he's going to the doctor, right?
Right.
Then the scene, I think, where he goes to the soccer game, and then he gets the naughty and nice list, I think, after that.
Yeah.
Right.
they-
So it's got to be
During the Naughty and
November.
Nights list, they jerk off, blow their entire CGI budget on him shaving off his
Yes.
beard.
Yes.
And then it regrows.
Yeah,
In-
and he dyes his hair.
in
He dyes
5
his hair,
seconds.
too, on the doctor's advice.
Yes.
I also want to point out in that soccer scene how unprofessional Neil is, because he's the stepfather to Charlie, but he gives, Scott his card.
Right.
And says, call me.
Yeah.
Like
Like
God,
professional
you-
courtesy
Right.
means you should probably refer me to
exactly,
someone you know.
exactly. So again,
I want to pay you.
fuck Neil. I mean, technically, already is paying for him because Neil's fucking his ex-wife in his house.
Man.
Although I think Neil probably can't get an erection.
But
we'll talk about that a little
I
bit later.
must have
That's
not.
a weird headcanon to this movie, dude.
The whole movie's great with the headcanon.
I must have not understood kidnapping as a child.
What do you mean?
Like,
What? Oh boy. What does
because
that mean?
all right, so the kids in the soccer, the first thing I think now is you're just approaching an older man, you're just a 7-year-old approaching a 60-year-old to
Well-
sit on his lap,
what appears to be a 60-year-old.
and then the scene after he gets the naughty nice list, he pretty much accepts I'm Santa, I'm gonna go to the North Pole now. You want to come with me, Charlie? I mean, actually, let me say bye to you. And then I have written the first thing I think is oh, they all leave the room so he could have a moment alone with his kid, and I'm like, man, this is a perfect kidnapping opportunity.
And then,
like, in real life, they would be like, no, I'm not leaving you alone with my child, you crazy man. You're going to kidnap him.
This is also shortly after he recommended him for psychological help, too.
Like, that would not happen in real life.
No.
And then Bernard shows up, like, let's go to the North Pole. I'm taking Charlie with me. And they actually kidnap him. I've written down, oh God, they actually fucking did it.
Yeah, they took him. This is like the climax of the movie, though. We're like,
it actually is. Yes, it's getting to the third act of the film, the climax scene where they steal Charlie to the North Pole.
But I saw this movie as a kid.
Yeah.
And my kid brain didn't bat a single thought at this. It was like, oh yeah, they'll leave the room to give him a moment together alone. Like, yeah, of course. Oh wait, what's so wrong about him going to the North Pole? He's just gonna go to the North Pole. It's fine. It's cool.
And now you're an adult and you're like, this is
that's
terrible.
Not okay. They kidnapped that child. You go to jail for this.
Also, he spent a considerable amount of time in the North Pole. Like, they were looking for a long time.
yeah.
Like,
And Matt had a good comment about, like, within the first 48 hours, either, you find the kid or, like, the trail goes cold and maybe the kid's body goes cold, too. So, like, these parents probably going through hell trying to find their child.
they just assumed Charlie was dead.
Oh, after like 3 days, the kid's
they
dead.
held on to that glimmer of hope.
Yeah, because it's a Christmas movie. There's always hope in the Christmas movie.
Yeah, but they kind of thought that kid was dead.
I would think that kid's... If I had a kid who was kidnapped by a person who thought he was Santa Claus after 3 days, that kid's eviscerated.
I'd be like, he raped my kid.
Oh, Jesus.
And then...
It's his own son.
He threw himself off a bridge.
Oh, what the fuck? With what? With the kid?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Ugh. I mean, actually, the mental image that I had was not any better. I had kind of like a satanic crucifixion kind of thing going on in the woods.
Well, you put him in the bag to.
Well, no, like you remember how
To deliver to other kids, and then
Santa Claus
he
delusions.
chopped him up and gave little parts of kids to other kids.
Oh, fuck me, Gerard. That's messed up. I was thinking about, like, how St. Peter got crucified, which is upside down. That's how Charlie would go if this was a different movie, but it's not because it's Disney.
Yeah, it was fine, and he just went to the North Pole. Why would you think anything else?
And he becomes like an engineer. Like he becomes an electrical engineer and works
like
on
all sorts of things.
like stealth radar technology.
Because they're like, oh, I don't want my dad Santa to die because last Santa died first night on the job.
He'd be okay with his like regular Scott dad dying.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
Yeah.
But not Santa Claus.
But not Santa dad.
Yeah, not
He's
Santa.
cool.
So does that mean you think he actually just likes his dad now that he's Santa, or just likes Santa and just wants to preserve that image?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. He
Okay,
still
that's
doesn't
it.
like.
Because he does it all for the kids. Like
Yeah.
even from the beginning, he's like, you have to do this for the kids.
And then Charlie comes up with fire-resistant clothing.
Yeah.
Like, he's a genius, apparently.
Allegedly, he's fucking
Because
smart.
Santa didn't have this for hundreds of years.
Right. Generations. And so they also had stealth technology, radar. They had the CD, the cookie cocoa dispenser. Remember that?
You need that.
Dude, those fucking cocoa...
Because if Santa doesn't eat a cookie every 15 minutes, he will die. That's another curse of the Santa Claus.
He
Pre-established.
has to keep his energy levels high at all times.
Diabetes is running rampant.
The
on
Santa
smug
Cookie
Clauses.
Diabetes Challenge. So while all this is happening, and Charlie single-handedly is outsmarting the United States military and aeronautics technology. People in Illinois are terrified that Charlie's dead, and they're tracking down a whole bunch of other Santas and beating the fuck out of them.
Yeah, I have written down.
Okay.
This movie hates the police.
So this is where we tap into the biggest fan theory that we have about this movie, because I'll point out again, this is 1994. So if you know your Janet Reno history, you know that Waco was that year. The Rodney King beating was 2 years earlier. O.J. Simpson was arrested that year, and there were heavy racial implications of that. So a whole lot of anti-government, anti-police sentiment in this. And we believe a little bit of that might have made it into this film. Because the cops...
the police are just beating up Santa, you the guy,
And
drag him.
the car rips out of nowhere, whips in front of Santa Claus to block his escape, and two guys tackle him from the behind.
It's very clearly unnecessary. They could have just pulled up like civilized human beings.
Police brutality, yes.
And now here we are, 20 years later, 22 years later, 23 years later. Race relations are at an all-time high, thanks to Santa Claus.
Okay.
Thanks.
That was it.
So there's
SWAT.
also the scene where they raid a home, and there's a whole SWAT team with loaded automatic assault rifles, and there's children in the mix, and they don't lower their guns at all.
Thanks to Santa Claus.
They don't lower their guns at all.
Police brutality, thanks Disney.
Yeah, I'll have to debate whether I want to leave that in or not.
Come at us, Disney.
Also, side note, if you want to look at one of the oldest women in history, look up Janet Reno. She was a good attorney general, but oh man, she would have been better born a man. And now in 2017, she could do that, no problem. Anyways, so they capture Scott. They capture Scott eventually.
Yeah, he goes. Well, I mean, he goes to his old house.
Yeah.
Right, to deliver presents.
To deliver presents.
He had to give Neil that weenie whistle.
Yeah, they had a part where they talked about the gifts they wanted. Oh, did we mention that his visiting rights were revoked halfway through the movie?
That's right. We
because
forgot
they
that.
were.
That also is a very real scene.
Right.
Oh boy.
A man that
Let me
became
tell
Santa
you.
Claus.
Yeah.
So he gets arrested.
So he gets arrested, and like they draw weapons, and they put him in like an interrogation room, and they ask him what his name was, and he goes through all the different names. One of which is Popo Gigo.
Topo?
It doesn't matter.
Topo Gigo?
I think it is Topo Gigo. You guys.
Topo Gigo.
Topo Gigo. If you just
He says
type
it
in,
like that.
if you type in either Popo Gigo or Topo Gigo in Google, the first video return is that 30-second clip where it just says that, and it's
We'll put that in the link,
hilarious.
though.
So this is actually, fuck, we've been doing the link up.
Link
Shit.
dump Topo Gigo.
Shit.
You guys gotta do your own fucking, like, the Christmas spirit.
Oh,
Do your own goddamn work.
man. Oh, man.
No, it's okay. I'll do the link.
All right, well, anyways, that's also the point where it's cemented in my head that Tim Allen was perfect for this.
Oh, yeah.
Because he was, everything in that.
That 1 30-second scene.
Yeah,
sold
dude,
you on the
everything
entire
he
movie.
did. Yeah, well.
He enjoyed fucking with that cop so much.
He enjoyed the whole movie.
To note, that cop was smoking indoors too. Another 90s.
90s.
Yeah, 90s
Good old
thing.
Just
90s
90s things.
It's just 90s stuff.
But yeah, so then they send the fucking, like, SWAT elves to go break him
This
out.
is, where
yeah.
this is where I really lost it.
This is where you
elf,
signed off?
What was it? The Elf Liberation?
Yeah,
The Elf
Liberation
Flying
Force.
Squad.
Flying Squad.
Yeah.
They have
Elf Liberation
jetpacks. They
Force.
would fly there.
This is the radical wing of the Elf People's Liberation Army that goes
Yeah.
on special missions to
Yeah.
break out Santa Claus.
So they
Communists.
Dude, do you want to talk about it?
Well, I mean, they bust him out of prison.
They killed
essentially.
that cop.
They fucking ate that cop.
All right,
They
so,
tied him up.
Yeah.
They had the 90s fast forward scene where the cop's spinning around in his chair.
All right.
They shove a donut in his mouth.
They had so many good parts of that.
no.
To
What do you
one,
mean good parts.
There were layers to that scene.
those elves enjoyed. They didn't have to fuck with that cop.
They were like-
they could fly.
They were the older kids, you know, that like
With attitude.
With attitude.
Yeah.
The elves with attitude.
Elves with
Yeah.
attitude.
They
Fuck
were
that line
They
in
could
particular.
have just walked right by that guy and or gone into the back entrance. They're magic elves. Bernard can teleport.
Yeah,
They
right.
could have teleported into the cell and teleported him out, but they chose to go tie up a cop, probably murder, torture, and eat him.
Yeah,
In
exactly.
not in that order though.
Not in
They
that order.
they tortured him, then ate him, and then killed him, like a fugu fish.
And which just breaks the role. Like, clearly, like, if they have a whole liberation force, Santa and the police fight often.
Yeah, so, like-
who struck first?
Exactly. That's what we were getting to.
It's Santa Claus.
'cause they have
Gotta
an-
be Santa Claus.
They have an elf standing army, right?
You drew first blood.
Apparently.
Not me.
So this goes back to like all types of law enforcement must have had some kind of agenda against this renegade known as Kris Kringle or Topo Gigo or the
They're
Santa
like, yo,
Claus.
if you catch that guy, you
Yeah,
kill
you-
him
you
quick.
fuck him up.
And don't you put on that suit.
There's no such thing as habeas corpus with the Santa Claus.
That suit eats your body.
Yeah.
You can't produce
Yeah.
it if it doesn't exist.
Like, oh shit.
I like to think the police struck first.
I like it.
That's the agenda Disney's pushing.
I like it better my way.
Well, there was more kids versus adults, which is, a Disney classic.
In addition to Scott believing in himself, it's really a struggle with authority.
How many times do you think Santa's gotten arrested?
Oh, I don't know. Like I'm gonna say 11.
Dozens?
I was gonna say about a dozen. Yeah, about a dozen times been arrested. That's what I'll say.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
you're just, this
Job must have
there's
been
there's
way
a strange man in
easier.
my... Well, obviously he's not sneaky, because every goddamn kid wakes up and sees him
Yeah, exactly.
delivering prisons.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, how come not everyone in this world believes in Santa?
Well, because
Like, literally every house he goes to, he runs into some.
Well, he only goes to the houses that believe in Santa.
yeah, he doesn't go to like Indonesia. Where
No,
it's
he
80%
goes
Muslim.
to the houses that believe in Christmas.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, Dan.
That was the line. It was not everyone celebrates Christmas. Not everyone believes in Santa. Like, people who don't believe in Santa, he still delivers them gifts.
Yeah, if you're like a Sikh, you're not gonna get a gift from Santa Claus.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
doesn't give a fuck about you.
Yeah. So it's only like 1.5 billion people in the world.
But the job must have been way easier before, like, organized police forces.
Yeah, exactly. You know, like go to like colonial America.
Yeah.
Come on, it's easy.
Yes.
Yeah, it's easy.
That is the last of my notes, because apparently I didn't give a fuck about anything after they murdered that cop.
So, going back on, like, how elves had, like, all this crazy technology, like, the way they broke him out was they took a thing of tinsel and sealed off the steel locks of the jail cell. And those two, like, little tiny elves...
Like thermite. Oh, it lifted
up the whole steel door and threw it away.
Yeah, it's because they bench every day.
Every day.
For a whole year, waiting for Santa to get captured on Christmas.
So I had a weird, more, esoteric question, which was, do you think the Santa Claus elves could beat the Lord of the Rings elves in a fight to the death?
Yeah.
Really?
Absolutely.
They have jetpacks.
I guess that's true.
They've got the technology.
Legolas will be sliding on that shield, look up and be like, oh, they're flying.
It's wrapping paper, and you get fucking wrapped up, and then they eat your soul.
like I'm just saying, there's a couple scenes, I think, in The Lord of the Rings where someone gets captured, and they're like, how are we going to get him out of there? Like, this is child's play to the elves.
Always jetpack.
Yeah.
It's always jet.
They
They
just
always
fly
win.
there,
The
tinsel
Liberation
done,
Flying
easy.
Squad.
Do you think they have to capitate people just with the tinsel?
Yes.
Or like,
Yeah.
like have their fingers in like a vice-like thing?
Oh, and they just take single ones off.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Oh my
absolutely.
God.
No, what they do is they have one person hold one end,
Yeah.
and the other person hold the other end, and then they jetpack, and they just kill a bunch of people.
Jesus.
Cut their heads clean
Just
off.
raining blood everywhere.
Raining
They
blood.
love it. They love the blood.
Yeah, the bloodshed pleases them.
Is that how they stay young all the
Oh
time?
my god.
Oh,
That's how they stay young all the time.
yeah.
That's how I stay young, by the way. Just orphan blood. Because no one misses them. You can get away with it. So we're going to like the last like 15 minutes of the movie. You
Yeah,
can
he
laugh
saves
into the mic.
Christmas.
It's okay.
Everything's fine.
You know, because then it lets the audience know this is incredibly awkward.
I
You
like
can laugh
I
into
like
the
I
mic.
like the awkward silence after you said that.
Everything's
I would have
fine.
kept that in.
I mean, I'll probably keep it in. We don't have a whole lot to work with right
There's
now.
really nothing left after that scene.
Well, I wanted to talk a little about the gift that Neil wanted.
yeah, he delivers everyone the gifts they wanted as a kid that they didn't
And that
get.
makes them believe.
And that makes
he's
them believe in
actually
Santa.
Claus. Because
Like,
how would he know?
Because God forbid Santa
Despite the
teaches
fact
you.
that they were openly talking about the gifts
Yeah,
they
all the
didn't
time.
have the entire
All the
fucking
time.
time.
God forbid Santa teaches you a little fucking humility and doesn't give you the precise gift that you fucking wanted for Christmas.
Yeah,
you
well, that's-
literally said, I got dozens and dozens of gifts, but I didn't get the
This
one
is
thing I wanted.
And you know, I'm gonna harp on this is the Disney agenda to sell toys way back in the day.
Were the Tim Allen toys for the Santa Claus? It had to be, right?
There
Yeah,
must have
but
been
other
fucking-
toys.
Right, okay, yeah.
You know,
For when they eventually buy Star Wars and sell all those toys.
I knew,
You didn't
I knew,
get-
I
you
knew
didn't
there
get
were
the
those toys,
exact
but I
gift
wanted
you
to know
wanted.
specifically,
Yeah.
did they have the Santa Claus
Yeah.
brand toys?
No, probably not.
they probably did.
We'll look it up.
There's always
We'll
toys.
link dump. We'll
There
have
was
two
a
things
look
at
up,
the link dump.
McDonald's had fucking little Santa Claus toys or something in '94.
McDonald's is a great forum to get kids hyped up for movies. That's all the fuck they do.
Yeah.
That and crush nugs.
Yeah, I fucking love
So,
Crush
anyways,
Nugs.
Neil
That's
wanted
nugs.
an Oscar Mayer weenie whistle, and because I thought that Neil actually secretly is gay and has a problem with erections, that the weenie whistle was an allegory for blowing dicks.
Yeah.
That's one of the last things that I wrote.
Got it, Fred.
But actually, you know what the real last thing I wrote? Actually, the penultimate thing I wrote was, unless you guys want to continue.
You good?
The last thing I wrote was that when they were kidnapping Charlie, that Comet should have helped out, broke into the window and gored Neil. Because he's the only reindeer that gave any kind of character development.
Well, they only built one animatronic.
this is
reindeer. Come on.
It's like a $30 million budget. Most of it went to Tim Allen's legal defense for the aforementioned cocaine incident.
The rest of it went to that one scene where all of his hair grew back.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was it.
He does look really good as Santa Claus, though.
All right, so to answer your question, the Santa Claus, 69 out of 100.
Really? Okay, so I give it actually a 7.5 out of 10. I really enjoyed the Santa Claus.
Well,
film.
like, I don't buy the whole, to enjoy something you have to give it an 8. Like, I'm pretty close to a 7. That's
Yeah.
a pretty average, enjoyable movie.
Yeah.
There was parts that were really painful.
The reason why I give it the 0.5 is because clearly I remember a lot more of the film than I thought I did, and if I really hated it, I would have expunged that from my memory, much like most of grad school. What about you, Drew? How did you feel about the Santa Claus?
Out of a scale of 10,
Well, you could do 100 like Gerard
I did 69 out of
Yeah, so
100.
you do 69.
I'm not gonna do that.
Do you want to do it out of 1,000 so you could fit 420 in there?
I wouldn't even get a 420.
Really? You hated it that much?
420 out of 1,000,000.
No, I mean out of a 10, I just fucking 3 out of 10.
Wow.
I awful.
Wow.
Oh, that means you
care
could have
for it.
done like a 420 out of like 180.
1,200?
Yeah,
1,800 or something.
Wow, you really did not like this movie.
I didn't care for it.
So
right.
you were singing the whole time like, I want this movie to end. Let's get this podcast over. We have 2 more to go, Drew.
I'm not
Yeah.
looking forward to them.
And critically-
but alcohol will be involved.
They get worse and worse. Like the second one, I still enjoyed. I've never seen the
You know
third.
what? This rolls into my 3 scale. That if they get worse and worse, at least I've got somewhere to go.
And the math is simple.
2, 1.
Yeah, the math is really easy for you. So I guess in summation, I enjoyed the first Santa Claus movie.
Oh yeah, I enjoyed it. I would recommend it at Christmas time. Probably not in the middle of July.
No.
Like I could watch Elf whenever. That's a good
I don't
movie.
like Elf that much.
It's timeless.
I think
Well-
more than the Santa Claus film.
Gerard really hates obnoxious people.
I mean, Will Ferrell was better in Old School. He's not good as Buddy the Elf.
I could watch Elf whenever. I could not watch this movie whenever. But during Christmas, I could sit down.
Yeah, it's a good movie. I
Watch
think it's
the
a good
Santa
movie.
Claus.
Oh yeah, what was the count at the end?
I didn't do a count, but I did a count.
Yeah.
And that one got to 4.
Oh, okay, that's not.
So
They-
the noise
they
is
snuck
in
them
there,
in.
That's
guys.
actually
I
less
wonder if
than
they were
I thought.
contractually obligated to put them
We
in.
need at least 4.
Well, I mean, it's part of his acting tool set. He
Yeah.
wasn't going to not do it.
From the Tim the Tool Time Taylor. All right, guys. I think that's good. We can fire up the second one a little bit, but actually probably not. I'm going to get toasted in downtown Boston first.
And then watch this.